Everybody, I'm Marcus.
I'm Ryan.
And together we are the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Now, week 3 of the college football season and the NFL season is in the books. We just want to give you guys a quick recap. I'll go over my top standout players from week 3, also some games to watch this upcoming weekend, as well as my first NFL power rankings.
Okay.
And Ryan is going to go over some of the top college teams for you guys to look out for, and also some of his top players in the college game right now, and also his top games coming up for this weekend. Now, I'm going to kick it off in the NFL. I'm going to start with the quarterbacks. And for the third straight week, a quarterback had a good game against my Washington Redskins. Wow. We need to get it together out there, Hazlitt. But Matthew Stafford from the Detroit Lions, 25 for 42, 385 yards, 2 touchdowns. And to me, he's still improving with his game.
Yeah.
And if he keep it up, not long, we're going to be saying that he's a for sure top 10 quarterback in this league.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, you know he's from Georgia, so we know how the Georgia players pan out.
Yeah.
Next up, just go ahead and give it to him now, Mr. MVP, Peyton Manning. Who does this, man?
Right.
32 for 37, 374 yards, 3 touchdowns. Now, this man is on pace to throw for 64 touchdowns and for over 6,000 yards.
Right, and broke the record most touchdown passes in the first 3 games with 12, held by, obviously, another great player, Tom Brady, with 11.
Yeah, right now it's not even close, man. So everybody should just go ahead and bow down, and we're going to hand out that MVP award to Peyton right now. Next up, I'm going to go to New Orleans, the NO. Drew Brees, he had a nice solid game for him. 29 for 46, 342, 3 touchdowns. He did throw 1 pick. Now, before the season, I said Drew Brees, well, he's going to show out this year. He got his man Sean Payton back, and he's continuing on that prediction. I love it when you make me look good, Drew Brees, so keep it up there. Now, we're going to go to the running back position. DeMarco Murray.
Wow.
Exactly. That's the same thing I was thinking. Great game you had there, Murray. LT, LaDainian Tomlinson kind of got on you there on NFL Network. And you came out and you showed out. 26 carries, 175 yards, 1 TD. The key for him this year, he's staying healthy.
Yeah.
And that offensive line is much improved. He's on pace for a 1,500 yard rushing season. And he's from Oklahoma. So keep it up out there, DeMarco Murray. Prove all the haters wrong, except for against the Redskins. Now, next up, I'm going to go out to New York. The New York Jets, Jets. Jets. They got a victory out there on the strength of Bilal Powell. 29 carries, 149 yards in the victory over the Bills. Now, with Chris Ivory out, he has an injury.
Yeah.
So look for Powell. They're going to rely on you to get it done. And hopefully you can have more games like this.
Yeah, Curtis Martin's not going through the door anytime soon. So.
All right. Next up, I got to go D'Angelo Williams. Where you been, bro?
Where's he been?
You've been missing all last year. And you had the fumble the earlier game this year against the Seahawks. But you showed out. You turned up. 23 carries, 120 yards, 1 TD in the blowout win over the Giants. Now, you was talking about the coach not using you right, and
need more carries,
right? And so now is your chance, especially with Jay Stu out. He's no close to coming back, so you're going to spoil us. We're expecting this for you each and every week.
Yeah, and Kenyon Barner's injured also, so you pretty much are the only one they have left.
So we need this each week from D'Angelo if the Panthers going to make some noise out there.
Yep.
Let's go to the wideout position. Let's start with Santonio Holmes.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome back, man. That Liz Frank injury is a tough one to come back from. He had a good game, 6 receptions, 154 yards, 1 TD. It's good to see you back and healthy, and giving the rookie Geno Smith a solid option, the wide receiver out there in New York. Next up, I'm going to go RG3, main man, Josh Gordon.
Right.
10 receptions, 146 yards, 1 touchdown, in your first game back from the 2-game suspension that you was given. Now, we all know you got the talent out there, but the thing is, can you stay out of trouble?
Right.
And can you keep it all together? Can you keep having that positive attitude? So you definitely on my radar as one of the upcoming young wide receivers in this game, Charles Gordon. And I got to salute you for a good game for the Cleveland Browns because, you know, a lot of turmoil. They just traded Trent Richardson.
Yeah.
And you responded there for him. And last, I know I gave you a shout out last week, but Jimmy Graham. Wow. Like I said, anytime a tight end, 9 receptions, 134 yards, 2 TDs, I got to give you a shout out. And the way you playing right now, is he the best tight end in the NFL?
I would say since Vernon Davis is injured a lot now, I would say he is the best TD or tight end in the NFL. I think so.
Wow. Jimmy Graham, shout out to you, man. You know, he's a solid option for Drew Brees out there. And you're definitely one of the reasons the Saints sitting at 3-0 right now. Now, I'm going to go on the defensive side of the ball right now, and I'm going to start with my linebackers. Vontaze Burfict from the Cincinnati Bengals. 10 tackles in the victory against Green Bay, and you was making your presence known with some big hits out there. You know, coming in, nobody drafted you. You went undrafted, talks of your character, but it seems like you got a nice fit out there in Cincinnati.
Yeah, he did have a little low blow, if you watch that on ESPN. So he did get caught with a little low blow, and he got a little push afterwards with the penalty. So he knows how to kind of get under people's skin, if you can say that.
All right. Next up, I'm going to go Justin Houston, linebacker from the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, most people don't have this type of games throughout their whole career.
Right.
6 tackles.
Okay.
4.5 sacks.
Wow.
Exactly. And you're playing next to Tamba Ali on the other side, so don't spoil us like that, man. We're gonna want you to turn up like that each and every week. And for my secondary options, I got two of them. You know, you make a house call. I got to throw you a shout out. Major Wright from the Bears. 6 tackles, 1 INT, and he, of course, he took it to the house.
Right.
And next, Eric Berry, 5 tackles, 1 INT, and he took that to the house as a big play in that game against the Eagles.
Right.
Now I'm gonna go over my top 5 power rankings, my top 5 teams in the NFL right now. Number 1, who else but the Broncos?
Right.
Offensive and defensively, they're clicking.
Yep.
And this is without Champ Bailey on the defensive side,
or Von Miller,
or Mr. Vaughn.
Right.
So, you know, when they get back, and Peyton says they're not even clicking on all levels yet, so it's scary to see how much better they're going to get.
Right.
Second, I got to go Seattle Seahawks. They're getting it done, even with Russell Wilson having a kind of a slow start to the year.
Yeah.
And also Marshawn Lynch. They're relying on that defense right now, which is by hands down, by far the best in the NFL. Third, I'm going to go to the Bears. 3-0, you know, they got the Jay Cutler and Brandon Marshall tandem.
Yep.
But the defense is doing it.
Yeah,
you know, they're causing turnovers, they're scoring touchdowns, and Urlacher who?
Right. Lance Briggs.
Yeah, of course. Fourth, I'm going to go New England. You know, the offense is still not where Brady would like it to be or what we're used to seeing from the Patriots. But the defense is playing well, and they do got a good test on the road versus Atlanta coming up this weekend. And my last team, I'm going to go New Orleans Saints. Drew Brees, Jimmy Graham, Sean Payton. The offense looking like the Saints offense, how it normally looks.
Yeah.
And Rob Ryan.
Yeah. He
got that defense with some swag out there.
Right. And you got 2 Ryans, Rex and Rob, probably the best 2 defensive-minded players or coaches that are really, you know, coaching up these teams right now in the NFL.
All right. Now, that's my take on the NFL right now. We're going to holler at Orion and see what he got to think about the college football.
All right, college football season is really exciting right now. We got a lot of future NFL stars. First, I'm just going to start off with the AP Associated Press Top 10. So if you haven't been following up and knowing what teams are doing good, what players, first off, it's number 1, Alabama. That's no surprise, right? Bama, you got 3 out of the last 4 championships. You got good players all around. A.J. McCarron at QB, Amari Cooper at wide receiver, obviously C.J. Mosley, a nice linebacker that will be in the first round, and you got HaHa Clinton-Dix, obviously there, HaHa. Changed his name to HaHa. I don't know why, but you know he did. But he's great. Plays a nice safety position. Number 2, my Oregon Ducks.
No.
So Oregon Ducks, I think the only team out of all the teams probably in college football that can actually keep up, you know, with Alabama besides, you know, A&M with Johnny Football. And they almost came out with a win. You got Marcus Mariota, Heisman finalist. You got, obviously, Black Mamba here. You already know. Yeah. He brings it every game. You got Ifo Ekpriolamu. Say that fast 3 times. And we got our local kid, Thomas Tyner. He's already got 3 touchdowns and limited carries, so look for him to progress. Number 3, we got Clemson. Obviously, Clemson. Taj Boyd, I don't give him enough credit. I'm not a huge NFL prospect for him, but you know what? You are playing great right now. I got to give you some credit. You know, Sammy Watkins is a kind of a Black Mamba clone, so they're really getting it together. And you did beat Georgia, which I do like, you know, obviously with Aaron Murray, so I got to give them some props. You are a solid number 3. Number 4, a lot of people are speculating if they really deserve the number 4 seed, is Ohio State. You know, you did have the undefeated season last year with the sanctions with Urban Meyer. He proved that you can go undefeated even under a sanction year. But you've had some injury issues. You know, you had Braxton Miller. That was supposed to be your savior at QB. He's been injured pretty much almost all year. Right. But then you have the backup come in, who is the best backup in college football right now. Kenny Guyton, he broke the record last week, 6 touchdowns passing.
Wow.
No Ohio State quarterback, including Kirk Herbstreit from ESPN, has never thrown for 6 TDs, period, in a full game, and he did it in a first half. So just imagine if he would have played a full game, he might have been able to get 8, 9, 10, and they are beating up weak competition, but when we get towards the end of the year against Michigan, we'll really see how good they really are. So we'll have to go from there. Next, number 5, Stanford. Another Pac-12 team, the only 2 Pac-12 schools in the top 5, which is kind of nice to represent. They haven't been really dominating like last year, you know, with their wins, but you have one of the best coaches, obviously with, you know, obviously Mr. Shaw there. You got Kevin Hogan at QB. He doesn't really surprise you with his flashiness, but they're going to pound the rock, and you already know what they're going to do, but can you stop it? Not really. So they obviously have a lot of toughness. You got obviously some good players there, Ty Montgomery as well. Number 6, LSU. You got Zach Mettenberger. I'm not really sold on him as an NFL quarterback, but he is getting it done.
He improved.
He improved, but I don't think necessarily he'll be a great standout quarterback. But is he a good game manager? Yeah. And LSU usually develops good defensive players. So obviously LSU, you know, you're pretty solid right now at number 6, and I see them possibly climbing, you know, throughout the year. How high, I'm not sure. And then number 7, Louisville. You know, you got Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy, the best quarterback in college football, besides Johnny Football, hands down, the best pocket QB. Probably kind of a comparison to Andrew Luck, obviously in that same type of respect. You know, they're winning games. You got Michael Dyer from Auburn when they beat Oregon in the championship game at running back. He made his way over there to, obviously, Louisville. And, you know, they have pretty good pieces there. Is their defense solid? I don't know. They kind of have some questionable pieces there, but offensively, it's hard to say that you can keep up with that team. They're pretty dominant right now. And then number 8, Florida State. You know, they are the best team in Florida now, right? Right. It used to be, you know, Miami. It used to be the Gators. But now you got famous Jameis. Obviously, freshman phenom QB, Jameis Winston. You know, he's a great player. We're going to really see how he plays as the season progresses, but he's really excited me this year. I know he's going to be a future star in the NFL in a couple years, so watch out for him to keep progressing. Next, number 9, Georgia. Right, one of my favorite teams in the top 10, Aaron Murray, one of my favorite, obviously, QBs in college football. I think he's the most underrated. You know, he's got good pocket presence. He reminds me kind of like an Andy Dalton with a little bit more upside. And, you know, we got Todd Gurley at running back. You lost a lot of players on defense to the draft, but Mark Richt is one of the best coaches in college football, so he'll get them ready, obviously, as they play LSU this weekend. So look for that. Huge game this weekend. And then number 10, no one's surprised, Johnny Football, Texas A&M. He does it all. You got Mike Evans at wide receiver. Obviously, Johnny Football. Everyone, we love watching you every Saturday when you're on TV. You're exciting. It doesn't matter who you're playing. You're always going to do something that makes us say, wow. And I think that is going to translate over to Sundays in the NFL. And you got one of the best offensive tackles or offensive linemen in the game, Jake Matthews. You know, with the Matthews family, with all of that, obviously,
good lineage
with all those Bruce and Clay, and you just got so many names there. I was Casey, so good family ties there, and obviously family tree. And then now, as we go into must game watch, obviously must games to watch this weekend. Number 1, I got to go LSU versus Georgia. That's going to be the number 1 game. Zach Mettenberger versus Aaron Murray. Who's going to come out on top? You know, you got the number 6 team in LSU versus number 9 Georgia. So someone's going to go up and someone's going to slip. So we're going to have to see who is the best SEC team out of those two, obviously in the top 10. That starts at 12:30 there, obviously at CBS. So if you obviously aren't doing anything, that's a game to watch. Another good game at that same time slot is going to be Oklahoma, ranked number 14 versus Notre Dame. So you got a Big 12 versus an independent. You know, Notre Dame isn't going to be as good as last year with Manti Te'o and their little natty run that they had. But it's a good matchup to see if Notre Dame can win at home against a pretty solid team, obviously, there. And they have a Blake Bell. He's kind of a no-name QB, but he can run, he can pass, and he's going to go against Tommy Rees. You know, and so Tommy Rees has been playing pretty good, so we'll have to see how that pans out. Next matchup, a good one, is going to be Ole Miss, right? Who's a little underrated, right? And obviously you have them against Alabama, right? And that's going to be on at 3:30, ESPN. Obviously, Alabama is a huge favorite in the game. But Ole Miss has a lot of All-Americans.
They have some young players.
They've got some young, up-and-coming talent, and don't be surprised if you see Ole Miss in the top 10 in the next few years. Yeah. They got some really nice pieces there. Bo Wallace, obviously, going against A.J. McCarron at the QB position, so watch out for that. Next, I got to go A&M with Johnny Football. They're playing against Arkansas. It's not going to be a really tough matchup for them. They are going to be on the road, but if you're a fan of Johnny Football and just great football to watch, it's a must-watch game. It's at 4 o'clock, SEC on ESPN2, so stay tuned for that. And my last two games, Big Ten matchup, Wisconsin, obviously number 23 versus Ohio State, number 4. So this will be Ohio State's first true test before real Michigan comes along at the end of the year. Can Ohio State win if Braxton Miller plays? Or are they going to go with the backup, Guyton, who's been playing so well?
Yeah, he's on fire right
now.
So
if it was me personally, I would go Guyton, but we'll see what obviously Urban Meyer decides to do in that game. And then last but not least, we got California versus the number 2 Oregon Ducks. So obviously that's going to be the start of Pac-12 play. I know Oregon's going to bring it, and like I said, it should be a nice matchup for the obviously fans there in Autzen to see how good we really are against Pac-12 opponents. And those are my games to watch. And anything else you want to fill in there, Marcus?
Yeah, I want to throw in a couple of NFL games to look out for this week.
All right.
Start with New Orleans Saints versus the Miami Dolphins. You know, both teams 3-0. That matchup will be on Monday night. You know, Saints, can they keep it rolling? And Miami trying to prove that it's not a fluke that they start off 3-0.
Right.
Next up, Seattle Seahawks versus Houston. Seattle, you know, their first test on the road. They say they can't win on the road, so we're going to find out here real quick. And can the Texans bounce back after a loss last week?
Yeah.
Next up, we're going to go New England Patriots versus the Atlanta Falcons. Patriots 3-0. The Falcons disappointing so far at 1-2. So New England will get a real test with their defense going up against Matt Ryan and that offense right there, Julio Jones.
Right.
Last, you know, it's kind of a sleeper because, you know, both teams is kind of struggling right now. The 49ers versus the Rams.
Right.
So that's going to come on Thursday night. Both teams 1-2. And the loser in this game is going to be in the deep hole in that NFC West.
Yep.
Now, that's our take on week 3 and our games to watch. You can follow me on Twitter, MarcusHill_NWSF.
And Ryan_NWSF.
Hit us up on Facebook.com/NW Sports Fanatics.
And we want to shout out our sponsors. We appreciate all the love and support that we're getting. Follow our page. Share, tell a friend. Please help us.
Yeah, all right. Shout out to my man Banner Bar for the banner in the back. You can hit him up at designshack.net. Also, follow us on Instagram at NW Sports Fanatics. I'm Marcus. This is Orion.
And together we are Northwest Sports Fanatics.